Jean de Forcade Biaix, aka Jean de Forcade, Marquis.De Biaix, aka Jean Quérin von Forcade, Herr von Biaix, aka Johann Quérin von Forcade. Biaix was a Huguenot, a descendant of the noble family of Forcade and Lieutenant General in the service of the Kingdom of Prussia. He was the Regimentschef of the 23rd Prussian Infantry Regiment, Commandant of the Royal Residence in Berlin, Gouverneur militaire of Berlin, a Knight of the Order of the Black Eagle and a member of King Frederick I of Prussia's Tobacco Collegium. Although there are references to Jean de Forcade Biaix as the Marquis.De Biaix in some Prussian sources published between 1788 to 1837, there is no evidence that he was ever a marquis. The noble fief of Biaix in the city of Pau was not a marquisate. He was also never Seigneur de Biaix. The title seigneur was not hereditary. In the case of his family, his father, who purchased the fief of Biaix in 1659, was the Seigneur de Biaix. Life in France. Little is known about his early life. His parents were Protestant. Protestant church records do not exist for the period between 1617 to 1667 for the temple in Pau. Historical records published in the 19th century related to the research of noble families in France claim that only two branches of this family descended from the parents, and that the only surviving branch was the Prussian one. Protestant baptismal records for the temple in Pau for the period 1668 to 1681 and 1673 to 1684, however, point to a large family with no fewer than 11 children, of which 6 sons to carry the name forward. What happened to the rest of the family is unknown. Emigration to Prussia. Jean de Forcade Biaix, unlike his father and eldest brother, did not abjure from Protestantism. Like many Huguenots, he left Quirin in religious exile after the revocation of the Edict of Nantes by the Edict of Fontainebleau in October 1685 and went to Brandenburg, where Frederick I of Prussia, the Elector of Brandenburg, was actively encouraging Huguenot immigration. Frederick I of Prussia, Elector of Brandenburg and future King of Prussia, saw an immediate interest in what Huguenot refugees could represent for his country. Indeed, he was both a Francophile and an admirer of the French. In October 1685 he published the Edict of Potsdam granting the Huguenots everything the Edict of Fontainebleau refused them: safe passage to Brandenburg, freedom to live and work where they chose, religious freedom and the right to worship in the native French, tax exemptions for 10 years, and more, going as far as granting them the same rights as citizens of the states of Brandenburg, Prussia. Meanwhile, his envoy to King Louis XIV of France's court at Versailles, the Count of Schwerin, dispensed subsidies and passports to all who requested them, provided, of course, that those requesting appeared to be of some benefit to his sovereign. As a result, the Kingdom of Prussia became for many Huguenots, in particular for the noblesse militaire, the ideal place of refuge. For Jean de Forcade Biaix, whereas there were only about 400 Huguenots in the Kingdom of Prussia in 1685, 2 years later, 20,000 French had established themselves. Berlin and Frankfurt on the Oder, the Kingdom of Prussia's two major cities, who each had 7,000 inhabitants in 1685, almost doubled in size within 5 years as a result of the French contribution and thanks to Frederick I of Prussia's generous offer of land and houses to the religious exiles. Huguenot noblemen and officers flocked to the military, where letters patent granted them the same rank they previously held in France, with the youngest among them granted entry ranks as ensigns or lieutenants, while in parallel new roles were created for notaries public, members of the bar and members of parliament, and lastly, businessmen and tradesmen were offered significant opportunities to start new industrial activities. Life in Prussia. By October 1686, Jean de Forcade de Biaix began a career that would span 41 years. In October 1686, lieutenant in the Elector of Brandenburg's militia in Frankfurt. 1688, captain in the Elector's bodyguards in Frankfurt. 1692, captain in the Prussian Guard in Krussen. 1699, captain in the Elector's bodyguards in Berlin. He remained in the rank of captain for nearly 15 years, humbly performing his occupation as a soldier, but two events enabled him to rise out of subordinate functions. In 1697, he married the Baroness Juliane von Hochstedt from an old Württembergian family, who also had the advantage of being the daughter of a major general in the service of Prussia. At the same time, the Electors of Brandenburg became the Kings of Prussia in 1701, and Frederick William I of Prussia, the future King of Prussia, befriended him. Jean de Forcade de Biaix pleased him and his career began to show it. Frederick William I of Prussia, known as the Soldier King, who would later become the organizer of the Prussian army, particularly appreciated three things: tobacco, soldiers, especially if they were very tall, and lastly, thrift. Concerning this latter, he especially appreciated French Huguenots, and is said to have admiringly exclaimed, "These are the only French who are satisfied with a single frog per day." On the 12th of September 1702, promoted to major in the Prussian White Fusilier Guards. Promoted on the 12th of August 1705 to lieutenant colonel, 1711, promoted to colonel, 1713, colonel in General Field Marshal Count von Wartenslebens Infantry Regiment, renamed that year to the 1st Prussian Infantry Regiment, appointed 1713 as Governor Militaire of Berlin. In this latter position, he reigned over his garrison with discipline and gained a reputation as one of the most severe military governors of Berlin. He is thought to be the founder of the famous Prussian drill that would become the admiration of numerous generations of military to follow. Each night during the 15 years of his governorship, he would send a letter to King Frederick William I of Prussia in which he recounted in detail the events of the day, allegedly without ever forgetting a single one. In February 1716, as a colonel, given the command of the 23rd Prussian Infantry Regiment, then garrisoned in Berlin. Promoted on the 31st of May 1718 to Major General, the 8th of September 1721, on behalf of the committee responsible for the affairs of the French colony in Berlin, he laid the cornerstone of the new French church in the Klosterstrasse. 1722, appointed as Commandant of the royal residence in Berlin. Jean de Forcade de Biaix was an avid and active member of the Collegium, the Areopagus before which, at the Berlin court, the affairs of domestic and foreign policy were discussed. Smoking was mandatory. The Tabakstube was set up based on the Dutch model, like a great hall. Every evening at 6 o'clock the Tobacco Collegium came together and remained until 10 o'clock or longer. Other members included Friedrich Wilhelm von Grumbo of Leopold I, Prince of Anhalt-Dessau, affectionately referred to as the Old Dessauer, Count Donhoff, Colonel von der Schau, the generals von Gerstorff and von Sedau, General Peter von Blankensee, affectionately called Blitzpeter at court, Caspar Otto von Glasenapp, Christoph Adam von Flans, Jugoslav Neomar von Nadsma, Heinrich Karl von von der Marwitz, Friedrich Wilhelm von Rochow, Wilhelm Dietrich von Buddenbrock, Arnold Christoph von Waldau, Johann Christoph Friedrich von Harke, and the occasional invited minister and ambassador, on a case-by-case basis. He was promoted posthumously on the 2nd of February 1729 to Lieutenant General. Family. Coat of arms. The family motto of the Prussian branch is In Virtute Pertinax. Coat of arms. An escutcheon with the field divided into 4 parts. Left half, argent tincture, a gules lion holding a cynoble eradicated oak tree between its paws, azure tincture charged with 3 emullets, right half, a gules castle with 3 towers on an argent tincture, cynople tincture charged with 3 argent roses below it, a Grafenkroner's helmet on top of the escutcheon, crested with their fleur-de-lis. 2 lions supporting the escutcheon. Motto, In Virtute Pertinax. Heraldic Symbolism. The lion symbolizes courage, the eradicated oak tree symbolizes strength and endurance, the towers are symbols of defense and of individual fortitude, the mullet symbolizes divine quality bestowed by God, the rose is a symbol of hope and joy, the fleur-de-lis is the floral emblem of France, the coronet is a symbol of victory, sovereignty and empire, a count's coronet to demonstrate rank, and because the family originally served the Counts of Foix and Biaix during the English wars in the Middle Ages. Parents. Jean de Forcade de Biaix's parents are erroneously cited in various Prussian historical sources between 1767 to 1861 as the French Field Marshal, Jacques de Forcade, Seigneur de Biaix, and Philippine d'Espelong, Baron d'Arros. Whether this information was intentionally provided false, or unintentionally in error, is a matter of pure speculation. These same sources state that the family origins were in Spain before Biaix, most likely referring to what had been the Kingdom of Navarre, which was split between the Kingdom of France and the Kingdom of Spain, with the part south of the Pyrenees becoming a part of Spain in 1521, and the part north of the Pyrenees becoming the Kingdom of Navarre Biaix, before becoming a part of France in 1589, when King Henry III of Navarre inherited the French throne as Henry IV of France. In 1620 it was merged into the France. Indeed, his parents were Protestant noble Jean de Forcade, Seigneur de Biaix, Fermier Desmonies de Biaix Navarre, who was married the 23rd of December 1659 at the Protestant temple in Morlas with Madeleine de Lana, daughter of Ramon de Lana, bourgeois in Pau. Marriage. Jean de Forcade de Biaix married the Baroness Juliana von Hochstadt, for the noble house of Erdeborn, on 15 April 1697. She was the daughter of Major General Quirin, Herbert von Hochstadt, Herr of Sulzer, Weichenberg and Erdeborn, and his wife Maria Magdalena Strafe von Lowenstein, of Falkenau, Diedenhossen and Bacor. Children. 2 sons were born out of this marriage, of which the elder, Friedrich Wilhelm Quirin von Forcade de Biaix, King Frederick I of Prussia's godson, covered the name de Forcade de Biaix with glory. The Royal Prussian Lieutenant General Friedrich Wilhelm Quirin von Forcade de Biaix and the Royal Prussian Colonel Isaac Quirin von Forcade de Biaix, aka Peter Isaac von Forcade de Biaix. Sophie Philippine von Forcade de Biaix married with Georg Wilhelm von Aschersleben, President of the Pomeranian War and Domain Chamber in Stettin, responsible for the financial and fiscal administration of Pomerania. The couple also had several other daughters. One of these daughters was married with an Eberhard, another with a Lohen. Other family. Brother. Isaac de Forcade, Seigneur de Biaix, attorney, jurat in power, legislator at the Parliament of Navarre, 3 marriages, Adrien de Lafitte, Jean de Ceres and Claire de Lalaine, nephew, Jean-Jacob de Forcade, Seigneur de Biaix, attorney, legislator at the Parliament of Navarre, niece, Martha Catherine de Forcade, Dame de Biaix, married the 9th of February 1727 in Ney with Henry III, Despalang, Baron d'Arros, co-seigneur de Saint-Abit, Seigneur de Minvielle and de Galandassen. Ancestry, titles and offices. Historical terms, in particular those related to offices, titles and awards, are often outdated in the usage to the point that modern dictionaries no longer contain them. To understand the meaning in the present-day context, it is necessary to look into dictionaries from the period. Historical terms in German used in the production of this article, and their English definitions, include Regimentschef. The appointment to Regimentschef, a regimental commander in the Prussian army, was usually for life. For this reason, most regiments were known and referred to by the name of the chef, the commander, for example, Forcade's regiment, instead of the 23rd Prussian Infantry Regiment. Biaix, the family estate. The noble fief of Biaix in the city of Pau and another house located on the outskirts of the city, were simultaneously ennobled on the 20th of September 1521, by letters of Henry II, King of Navarre, for Pierre de Biaix, at the time Chancellor of Foy and Bearn. Noble Jean de Forcade, Seigneur de Rontignan, purchased the noble fief of Biaix in Pau, together with another house in the suburbs of Pau referred to as Biaix-du Faubourg, on the 28th of February 1659 from Gratien von Turon, Seigneur de Biaix, for 6,000 Bordeaux livres, and was admitted on the 10th of June 1659 to the order of nobility of the States of Biaix as Seigneur de Biaix. Under intimidation from the policy of harassment of religious minorities through the use of dragonnades, created in 1681, to intimidate Huguenots into converting to Catholicism at Lève, France, and under the threat of confiscation of properties of nobles who did not convert, both Jean de Forcade, Seigneur de Biaix and the eldest son abjured from Protestantism, therewith maintaining possession of Biaix. Following the father's death in 1684, the property and the right to enter the order of nobility of the States of Biaix were passed to Isaac de Forcade de Biaix. In turn, following his death in 1737, the property and the right to enter the order of nobility of the States of Biaix were passed to his eldest son, Jean-Jacob de Forcade de Biaix, before the Forcade-Biaix line in France is said to have extinguished. After various vicissitudes of fortune, the second smaller house on the outskirts of Pau, referred to as Biaix-du Faubourg, was acquired from family de Cassis on the 10th of May 1710 by Quirin von merchant furbisher, who was received in the order of nobility of the States of Biaix on the 28th of April 1717 as Seigneur de Biaix-du Faubourg. Quirin died in 1739 and bequeathed it back to his niece and goddaughter, Jean-Jacob de Forcade de Biaix's daughter, Marie-Jeanne de Forcade, Dame de Biaix, who later married Pierre de Casamager. Because Biaix was acquired in 1659, any reference to earlier members of the family line with de Biaix as a part of the name are in error.